Well, hello, Facebook and YouTube. I bid you greetings this evening. I want to talk to you a little bit about obviously it's going to be about real estate, but I want to talk to you in essence about real estate will allow you to print money legally. Yes, I said it. In essence, real estate would allow you to print money legally. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead on and first of all, smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead on and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would help me out a whole lot. Okay, let me get right on to it. I won't be before you long, but I do want to share this with you. And I have many instances that I could share with you where, in essence, where real estate has allowed me to actually print money legally, in essence. And so let me share with you, because I said I wouldn't be before you long, but let me share with you this. Again, I'm going to give you a specific incident. I was I seen this particular property. It wasn't very far from my house. And what I wanted to do, because at the time I was kind of new to this, but I wanted to structure a deal where I could get the deed after I closed on the property, I could get the keys to the property, and also I could walk away from the property with $30,000. I want to structure a deal such as that. And this particular property was in a nice location on Main Street, okay? Like I said, not too far from my house, but it was right next to a restaurant that was very frequently visited by the local personnel. And on this particular property, it had two buildings on the property, okay? One was used as a boutique, standalone building, and the second property towards the back of that was at the time it was a warehouse, and it was two-level building. And on the top level, it had an apartment, a one-bedroom apartment on that particular level. So when I bought it, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with the property, but I knew it was in a good location. I knew it was a commercial property, and I knew it had potential. Sometimes you get into things and you actually buy them. Well, at least I do. I buy them because I feel like I'm led to do that, and God is showing me some potential, something that has value. And the way I look at property, I look at what is the hidden value in a particular property that will make it not only cash flow, but it will make it more valuable than it will look to other people that can't see the hidden value. Okay, so I looked at this property, and the way I structured this deal, at the time they were asking for something like $235,000 for this property, and I only wanted to give them about $200,000 is the way I looked at it. And I said, okay, I'd be willing to look at $200,000. I talked to the realtor, and they presented that offer, and they were willing to accept that offer because it had been on the market for quite a while. But I told them the way I wanted to structure this deal, I wanted to get enough money back from closing to do quite a bit of the rehab. So I wanted to give them their offer price of $235,000, okay? But I wanted to have $30,000 come back to me, okay, after closing in a check, and the other $5,000 would pay for closing costs and all those kind of expenses. And if there was anything left over from that, that would also come back to me. That was the structure, basically the structure of the deal. So in other words, I told them I could come to the table or the closing table with $200,000 that I would be getting approximately from the bank, okay? But I wanted the sellers to hold a note for the $35,000. Okay, that's where I structured this thing. They agreed to do that. And so basically it was an owner carry back note. And on that note, I would pay a specific amount of money on an interest only loan that at the time, I think it was 2 or 3 years. And then I would be a balloon payment due at the end of that time period. Okay. So that's the way I structured the deal. And so we got everything signed and ratified. And then after that, what happened, I went on and, well, let me back up just a minute. Part of my negotiation, because it had two buildings on the property, but it was all at some years ago, they had combined these two separate parcels or two separate buildings on one particular lot. And so part of my negotiation in my due diligence, I wrote in the contract that this contract was contingent on the town being able to separate these two properties again. So it would be two properties and not one, okay? And so when we got it under contract, I immediately went down to the town to get that done. And it took a little while, but I was able to get approval for both properties to be separated, so each property would be on its own commercial lot. Okay, so the smaller property, it was very small. It only had basically almost like a little postage stamp with the boutique, and one parking place was included with that particular property. And then to the side of that was the other property that goes all the way back, and that was the warehouse as well as the apartment above the warehouse. So I had that separated. Okay, so we closed the deal. Well, let me add this here. Before we closed the deal, in my due diligence, I found out the property, it needed a new roof. Okay, and so I estimated that it would be about $15,000 for a new roof. And part of my contract, I asked that that expense be taken off of the $200,000. Well, they barked a little bit about that, but we came to an agreement of $10,000, and the seller as well as and me as the buyer, we agreed to the $10,000. So now it has the price of the property has reduced now from $200,000 to $190,000. Everybody got me? Okay, so you got me. I got you. Okay, so now we're at $190,000. Remember, I wrote the contract for $235,000. So that's extra money that would be coming back to me. I have money now to do some rehab work. I also have money to do a new roof. Okay, so $190,000. We close on the property, and immediately I start working everything and doing the things that I need to do. So I asked God about what should I do with this particular property, because like I said, I didn't have an idea. I knew it was valuable, but I wasn't exactly sure exactly what I was going to do. Well, what I came up with was splitting the two properties, and I thought about, well, I could do with the smaller property, I could turn it into maybe a ice cream shop or something like that, because it was next to a restaurant that was frequented by a lot of the locals, as well as people would come out of town and go to this particular restaurant. It's very popular, okay? So I thought maybe an ice cream shop or something like that, or even a dress shop would do. And what I wound up doing, I turned it into a dress shop. My wife had her dress shop there, okay? All right, so keep that in mind. And on the warehouse, I wasn't sure exactly what to do with that, but I knew that it was already producing income because there was an apartment above the warehouse that was already rented. So it was producing some limited amount of income, all right? But what I found out after I purchased the property, I was contacted by the restaurant. Now, the restaurant, like I said, it was a very popular restaurant, but the restaurant didn't have enough parking. And what they asked, they said, well, we're interested in perhaps buying the smaller property, and what we would like to do is tear it down and extend our parking lot. And I said, okay, well, we could come up with a good price. We would be able to do that. And this is like maybe a year later after me purchasing the property. All right, and so they came to me and we negotiated a deal. And what we negotiated, a price of $190,000 for that particular property. Okay, yes, $190,000. That's right. Remind you now, I paid $190,000 for both properties, but again, I had to get a new roof. okay? And I did get a new roof, okay? All right, so now I sell it to the restaurant for $190,000, and that is exactly what I owed on the property after my down payment and everything that I had to do. That's what I owed on both properties. So the cash that I got from that sale, since now I had two parcels or two lots, had I not separated those properties, I would never have been able to do that. All right, that's number one. So always keep in mind, give yourself options, give yourself exit strategies, because it can pay you very well, okay? So now we have agreed, so they have bought this particular property, but mind you, I listened very carefully as to understand what is the intent now of the buyer. Because see, now I'm a seller, but I'm listening to the buyer as to what they want to do with the property. Now the buyer, the restaurant, said that they wanted to tear down the building, and it was an older building. They wanted to tear it down and make it a parking lot. I thought to myself, this is something, I'm not sure. This might be a win-win for both of us. So what I did, in the contract to sell the property, I wrote in the contract that within 12 months, I would be able to be the one that would, and it was an option. I could, within 12 months, tear the building down, and I could use the materials that I found in the property that were valuable to me, and then everything else would be torn down and taken to the dump at my expense, okay? But that was my option, that I could do that. And if I didn't tear it down within a year, then that falls back on the buyer to take care of that responsibility, and I'm out of it, okay? And I thought to myself, the reason I gave myself that option, one, I didn't think it was that much materials in there, but at least it gives you an option. Maybe there's something there that I could put on another property. It had a porch, and you know, it has lumber, it has all kind of different things. And in that kind of community that I was in, a lot of people do reclaimed wood and all those kind of things, okay? So always give yourself options, even though you might not know what to do with it, but give yourself that option, because it may pay you well in the end. And so when I gave myself that option, what I also found out, that I was thinking to myself, you know, if you owe money on a property, most people don't have like $190,000 sitting around somewhere. They probably had to go to the bank to borrow that money. And if you borrow money from a bank to buy a property, the bank ain't gonna allow you to just tear down their asset that's securing their property. So I thought, I don't think they're gonna be able to tear this property down. That's what I was thinking in my mind. And so it was coming close to that year, maybe around the 10-month time frame. And I said, you know, I need to go ahead and exercise my option to get this reclaimed wood and tear down the property and do what I need to do. So I went and wrote a letter notifying the restaurant, the owners, that I wanted to exercise my option and go ahead on and tear the building down and get the reclaimed wood, get all the materials. And they sent me a letter back saying that we changed our mind. You won't be able to do that. We're going to go ahead and keep the house, the building intact. And I said to myself, wait a minute, now we have a contract. You can't just unilaterally make that decision. Now, if you want to do that, there's probably about, I don't know, $15,000, $20,000 worth of material that we can negotiate as to how you can be whole and I can be whole, because I have an option that's my material there, okay? And they didn't want to do that. And so, okay, well, we got a contract. We got a ratified contract, okay? And the ratified contract, there's a clause that called a specific performance. Well, that means they can require me to perform my contractual obligations and I can require them to perform their contractual obligations. Okay, absolutely. So I informed them of that, my attorney informed them of that. Long story short, they seen that they had to actually perform on that. And since they did not want the property torn down, the offer in compromise was to give me $10,000, and I would go away, cancel that contract, and then they could do what they needed to do. And that was agreeable to me, and obviously it was agreeable to them. So it was a win-win situation. But I created $10,000. Why? Because I had the foresight to be able to put that in the contract, thinking ahead, and I put that in the contract. So that's $10,000 created from nothing. Printing money. Okay, that was one incident. All right, so now I own the property next to it. I own it free and clear. Now I'm thinking to myself, Lord, what can I do with this property? Okay, remember it had an apartment on the top. What I'm gonna do with a warehouse? I wasn't sure. Okay, how it would generate income. So I'm always looking, how does this thing pay for itself? How does it generate income? And so I thought to myself, okay, there's enough room in this warehouse where I could turn this into apartments. I had enough room to create 3 apartments downstairs. And remember, there was already 1 apartment upstairs, but it was only on a very small portion of the upstairs, and everything else was a blank slate. So what I contracted with a contractor to do is, I want you to, on the top of this warehouse, I want you to add 2 more apartments up top, and now I would have 3 up top, and I want you to complete the entire downstairs into 3 apartments. So when we finish, I want to have 6 apartments, 6 income producing apartments. And there was enough room on the first level to have 3 2-bedroom apartments. And upstairs, I would have the 1 1-bedroom apartment, and I built an additional 2 2-bedroom apartments. That's what I did. Each one of those apartments was producing somewhere around, I don't know, remember at the time, I think it was around $600 to $800, something in there, that frame, each apartment. You're talking about printing money, creating money from nothing. Real estate allows you to legally print money. And let me go back to what I said before. I walked away from closing not with $30,000. I walked away from closing with $36,000, the keys in my hand to the warehouse, the keys in my hand to the apartment that was already producing income, and the deed. Printing money, printing money, printing money. That's what real estate, you have the potential, the possibility to create money from nothing, out of nowhere. Plus the $10,000 that I got for having the foresight to be able to put in writing. Plus I listened to the seller, the restaurant, as to what they wanted to do with the property after they bought it. And I exercised that option. That would allow me to get another $10,000. Is that all right? You can do that too. And actually, I'm a real estate coach. I can teach you to do those kind of things. Again, this is Dr. Leon K. McCray. Go ahead and smash that like button if you like these kind of real estate videos. Like and smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would help me out a lot. So again, this is Dr. Leon K. McCray. Hey, as always, I wish above all things that you prosper. I'm talking about you, that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you and God keep you. You take care now. Hallelujah. God is on the throne. He's good.